My name is Jennifer Griffin. I am the Senior Services Coordinator at the Schaumburg Library. And I'm going to be sharing today a lot of resources that are available through the library, but also that are available through the state of Illinois. And when I say state resources for seniors with low vision, this really could be for anyone that has a disability of any sort that prevents them from being able to hold a physical book, or even somebody where a different format might work better. For instance, I have arthritis in my hands, and I often do not hold physical books for very long because they hurt my hands. So an audiobook or even an ebook on my phone is very helpful. So I hope that this is helpful to you today, and you have my contact info here. You can feel free to shoot me an email with any questions after the presentation. And the slides from this presentation I also sent to Jessica. So if you're afraid you're going to miss something, you do not need to write all this down. These slides will be here for you later. So a lot of people are like, why is this so important? And some of the people that I help also are a little bit averse to technology, and that's anyone who walks in the library door. It's not just limited to seniors. And they say, why is this so important that we're reading? So anyone who could develop a mild cognitive impairment, sometimes you hear it very much referred to as MCIs, that's what they're talking about, or any type of dementia, reading is often one of the last skills to go. It does depend on what part of your brain is being affected, should you have some sort of brain injury or some sort of diagnosed condition. But most of the time, it's been proven by research that reading is one of your last skills to go. If you ever do develop a condition like this. Also, lots of studies have been conducted within the last year. One that's fairly well known, and it's the one that was completed by the Rush University Medical Center, and it was released in February of this year. They said reading and writing or learning a new language can lower dementia risk by almost 40%. So keeping your mind going, even when maybe you're retired and you don't have to do a lot of academic reading or instructional reading anymore. Keeping your brain active by, I don't know, learning about something new can be very beneficial to your brain. And that doesn't just include reading. It includes learning any new skill. And then learning something new, I would say like learning new technology, keeps your brain more flexible. Anytime you're learning a new skill, your brain has to flex, and that makes you more able to pivot. So the other big thing that we talk about in the dementia world also is that socialization is probably the number two most important thing that we do when we're not at work anymore, or say we're living alone. Socialization keeps your brain active. And those that have a dementia diagnosis earlier in life, often it's been linked to being lonely and not getting out and socializing with others. So reading, if you ever go online on social media, you will see that reading is no longer a solitary activity. So going to an American Library Association conference just last week, they said they completed a new study this past year that 1 in every 5 adults in the United States actively attends a monthly book club. And book clubs are just a great way to meet new people that you'll maybe find something in common with that you wouldn't have thought before. Maybe also common interest in reading, but maybe on a particular topic. Maybe you'll meet somebody that is into exercising like you. Maybe you'll meet somebody who likes the same TV shows and movies as you. So it's a great place to meet new people too. So I'm just going to lay out some basic resources just before we get started that I feel like a lot of people just don't know that are out there for them. So at our library, and I would say most libraries that are not small rural libraries in the state of Illinois do have magnifiers for checkout. And so I brought one of ours. And what's cool about this one is you just put it down over the page. So even if you have a hard time holding on to something, you could just put it down over the page and easily move it. And it is very, very light too. We offer about 10 different magnifiers for checkout. Some of them have a lamp on them. A couple of them have something where it's like a necklace on you, where you're, again, hands-free, and it's connected to a light. There's a lot of different ones. And I was just going to actually, if I go back here, if I share my screen, I actually have the different, actually, I'm having a hard time accessing it. So if you go to our website, I could show you how you would search this. If you put in magnifiers, you would see all of the different ones. And again, it works exactly like a checkout would for a checkout for a book. There's nothing all that specialized with magnifiers. So if you're really wanting to read and your vision is not that low, you're not encountering anything like mac degeneration or anything like that, then that might be a really good option for you about that. A big thing also that a lot of people don't know about are the accessibility features on your phone. So if you were to, especially iPhone has pretty good accessibility settings. So say you have a hard time reading your phone screen and it's hard to look at. If you have somebody or if you do it, go to the settings on your phone. Under general settings are accessibility settings that you can set. iPhone is better, I would say, than Droid, but you do have features on most Androids as well for accessibility. And they do work with all of the e-reader apps that I'm going to be talking about today. They work together. Also, the large print book collection at your library. So I'm not really sure which library y'all are from, but at Schaumburg, we have more than 8,000 titles in our collection for large print. Again, if it's just you need a little bit bigger print, it's a very good option. Another thing that people don't realize is, say your library does not have the large print book option. You could always ask them to request the large print format for you through an ILL. That's often what you'll hear the librarian saying. It's an interlibrary loan. So if your library doesn't have it, maybe another library does and they're willing to loan it. I know we regularly loan stuff out to other libraries and they loan to us as well, which really makes that easier. The large print book collection, most of the time, you're going to find the book looks kind of big. It will say large print. And then also, most of the time, it's 18-point font. And there's a little bit more white space to be a little bit easier on the eyes at the end of a long day. Also, some libraries we do, but others do too. A lot of magazines will come in a large print format. We do order those. We also order the Wall Street Journal, for instance, in large print. So those are also available through your library. Ebooks are extremely easy. If any of you have the Kindle app or a Kindle e-reader, there are multiple options to be able to change the text as well as the brightness and color of the background on the Kindle app, which I'll show you a little bit of as we get into the session today, and also what you can do on the free library apps to make the text bigger as well. The other thing that I would say too is audiobooks. I have heard from so many people that they think that that is not truly reading. Your brain has to be engaged to remember what in the world is going on. And you would never say to a blind person, hey, you're listening to the book, you're not reading. You never would say that, right? So audiobooks count. They are real reading. Your brain has to be just as engaged. You're just using a different sense to keep up with the storyline. And I would argue sometimes people are doing other things while listening to audiobooks, so it takes a bit more focus sometimes. Also, when it comes to audiobooks, there are multiple options, which we'll go through today. And this is just a baseline of the different things that are available. You can always reach out to me or your local library person, and they would know most of what I'm presenting today as options. So you have e-audiobooks for a lot of our free apps. That is how I listen to them. I facilitate 4 book club meetings a month. And I could never get through our whole reading list if I didn't do some audio. So a lot of those are on the free apps. And what's kind of cool about them is you can download them to your device and say you're on a plane, you're in an area that doesn't have service, you're still able to listen to them, which is pretty neat. Another huge program in the state of Illinois, which all you need really is an Illinois address as your first qualifier to sign up, is the Illinois Talking Book Program, which we're going to talk about next. And then magazines and newspapers, a lot of people don't realize too, we do have the online platforms, again, where you can access the subscription to these free. The main app, which we're not covering today because it would take a lot more time, is Press Reader, but most libraries have this app. Or if you don't, a lot of magazines and newspapers are now available on Hoopla too, which we're covering today. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Illinois Talking Book and Braille program. So the Talking Book and Braille service provides audio and Braille library service via mail to any Illinois resident who is unable to read standard print size, which often is 12 to 14 point font, or due to a permanent or temporary visual physical disability. So, for instance, I signed somebody a couple months ago and they had Parkinson's. And the reason was not that she could not see, it was that she physically could not hold a book without shaking. So she qualified for this service. Another person that we signed up had multiple sclerosis. They were not even a senior citizen. And the thing is, they were able to access the app that is part of this program with all of their accessibility devices that they have. They were able to tell the app how to operate. So there are lots of options. These people are great. Anytime I talk to them on the phone, they are so helpful. They are used to providing services to people who really do need help with technology as well. So please, if you ever feel like this service could be right for you, don't feel like you cannot reach out because you don't feel comfortable with the technology aspect of it. They are great at helping. They helped me. So the qualifications other than an Illinois address. You must either be blind or you must have a vision disability. So the typical one that I see is macular degeneration. And normally it's because we've gotten to the point that large print font, even with a magnifier, is not going so well. So you do have to have either a vision disability or a physical disability. So anything that would prevent you from being able to hold a book. And then an application must be filled out to participate in this service. And then applications can be completed by a medical professional. So say you're at the eye doctor and he says, you have really lost a lot of vision. You have macular degeneration going on. If you still want to read, this is a very easy form for them to fill out on your behalf. Or if you go by your local library, you can reach out to me too. But say you're at the Palatine Library or you're somewhere else completely far away in Illinois, it does not matter. Reach out to your local librarian. I am the ADA officer here, but it will be whoever on their staff is responsible for keeping up that service. And then I was just going to show you kind of what the website looks like and how easy it is to navigate. So, Talking Book and Braille Service, this is what their website looks like. And it is listed in the resources that will be sent out with this video. So, all you would do is scroll down. You can learn more about TBBS if you're really wanting to know more about the actual service. You also, I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. Here we go. We're back here. Hopefully you all can see this. So you can fill out an application on the website here, which is pretty easy to do. They do normally ask somebody official to sign off on it, though. And we do have the form in Spanish as well, if you are needing that. Then the other part of this, which we're going to get back to, so I have their information on the slides for you here, but there's a second part to this service. It is called BARD, or the Braille and Audio Reading Download service. So it's a pretty easy app to use on your phone, but you can use it on your computer as well. And what is cool about this part is that not only do you have the app on your phone that could work with an accessibility tool, but you also have the ability to download the audio option. Say you have a laptop and that's just easier for you to use. Or say you have a USB drive, which you would like to plug into your player. You can do an easy download for that. And this is pretty easy to access too. I am going to stop sharing so I can show you how you can search their catalog. So if you went to the BARD website, which was right under where we clicked before, and then you click search catalog, you get here. And then say I'm wanting to listen to The Women by Kristen Hanna, very popular book. And the other cool thing about this is it's updated very regularly. New titles are on here. It is not all old books. I've had some people who have thought that was a concern before. Anything that has come out in the last year that has been in any way popular, they have. So you can look here, the women. If I scroll down, I can look at the options. The first one that I want is the one that comes up. And then all I would have to do is go to take action and then download the women, or say, I don't want it right now, but I know I want it later. You can add it to your wish list. And that'll just be on your login on the BARD website. So again, this, like the other service, does require an application filled out. And one of the reasons they require this is because often there's a long waiting list on Libby. To any of you who have used it, you know what I'm talking about. They don't want people going to this service just because they are tired of waiting on Libby. They want people who actually need this service to be using it and to be able to utilize it. So say you decided to not do the app version. You decided, I want to do Illinois Talking Books, but I just want the regular player. It's kind of like a cassette player. How do I do that? Well, first of all, this is what it looks like. There are three main buttons. If I can put them closer to my camera. The main thing is play stop. You can fast forward, you can go back. But another unique feature other than the volume here is you can adjust the speed, and say somebody's voice is too high pitched or too low pitched for you to be able to hear it well. You can adjust this too. I have been told as well that if you request a player that works together with a hearing aid, you can request that as a Bluetooth option with hearing aids as well. That will be something you need to request on the application because the typical player does not have that, just so you know. If, say, you are in a room with other folks and you're wanting to listen to this privately, there is a headphone jack in this player. Also, any button that you press, so say you really can't see the buttons, all you can do is feel and say you're not sure that you're hitting the right button. Well, the button will tell you exactly what button you hit. So for instance, I am going to hit the power button.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. 10. Books.
The surfacing.
Current position.
Library of Congress annotation.
Time remaining. 12 hours, 20 minutes.
Part 1. 1850. 25th May.
So I'm going to try turning the volume up.
volume up,
Passed through belts the
volume down, volume down,
color of mud, and belts the color of mustard that ran directly across.
And then I wanted to pause it. So as you could probably hear, the button actually announces which button you're pressing, which is really, really cool. So if we do this again, I'm going to change the speed just so you can hear what it does.
Stream. They slid into banks of fog
speed up,
that stood dead on the water. The blanket
speed up,
did everything but their voices and slid back into the daylight as a
speed.
Now that's just too fast for some people. I listen to mine pretty fast though. The other thing that I'm going to show you very quickly is what it sounds like if we switch the tone up or down.
Tone up, normal, tone up,
Exiting one such bank on the 20th,
tone up, tone up.
they met a queer-looking brake. They'd had the seat to themselves.
And now I'm going to try tone down.
Tone down.
But she made no acknowledgement, slid silently by into the fog aft, and they never saw her.
And as you could hear, the pitch of his voice went lower. So one patron that we helped before just could not hear me very well because they said that my voice was too high pitched. I don't know. I don't get that often, but if that is ever the issue, you can still use this machine to change that. Also, some people I know have like literally decided to not sign themselves up because they thought it had to be connected to an outlet or they thought they needed to be able to hold this. You do not. You do not need to have that plugged in. I'm going to unplug it right now, and it should let me know how much time I have left in battery. And a lot of the time, it's 24 plus hours that you can have this without any connection to power.
Battery powered. Battery charge remaining greater than 29 hours.
So just to give you an idea, so it does need to plug in every once in a while to charge, but it's not often. The other thing too, you can download the file to your actual player. You can download it to your computer as well. And again, BARD and this Illinois Talking Book program, you have to have the application form signed by a medical professional or a librarian. And a nice thing with that too is you can scan it and send it in. You don't have to have a fax machine. I did meet them at the American Library Association conference this past week, and I said, when are we going to get it where you have an easy form for people to just be able to send it over the internet or on their phone? And they said they're working on it. So hopefully that is coming soon. If you need more help or you have questions about the Illinois Talking Book program, I'm your go-to person, especially if you live in the area. I'm probably going to be the one that you're going to see anyways. But normally there's at least one person on staff at each library who is has this task to them. So they know all the options and they could help you with more. And if for some reason we couldn't come up with what we needed, say like the hearing aid option, I know less about because I haven't really had a lot of patrons take advantage of that feature. You could always reach out to the Illinois Talking Book folks, and they are super helpful. Okay, so the next section is on all these free library apps that we have. Probably most familiar to you would be Libby, but we have Hoopla and we have Palace Project now, which is a fairly new app. So all of the apps and resources I'm discussing right now are free. There's no charge to download them. There is no charge for any of the ebooks or audiobooks. I know a lot of folks like using Kindle Unlimited, but there is a charge and it's quite significant each month. I've done it when there was a book I wanted that I couldn't find on Libby, and it was like $11.99 a month. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. This is completely free. Now, I will say 2 of the 3 apps that we're discussing right now are ones that work like the actual library. As in, just because it's online doesn't mean the copy is readily available. If you want it, you might have to put a hold on it, especially if it's a very popular title right now. Also, you can find out about all of the ebook offerings on our website. I will go to that right now to show you that. So all you would do, and I would say that this is fairly typical, where libraries will often put it under e-library or e-resources. So if you just went to your library's homepage, went to e-library, and then go to ebooks and e-audiobooks, you would come to this page. And what is kind of cool about this is you can do a little tutorial for each one if you want more help. If you come to the library here, we have all of the handouts printed out on how to do all of them exactly. And I think most libraries try to do the same to make it easier for their patrons. So all of them are pretty user friendly. It's just sometimes getting over that initial hump of installing those on your phone or your tablet. That's what I often see these installed on. You can access them on your computer, though, too, if you feel more comfortable using your desktop or laptop computer. So, no worries there. So, the first app we are going to talk about is Libby. Now, if we had continued to follow that link to the Libby resource that was on the web page, it would bring you to this page for Libby. And so you do have to use your home library's account. So say you live in Palatine Library District, you have to use your Palatine login. You will not be able to utilize Schomburg's collection. And there are some differences. Each library is different in how they choose to budget for ebooks and e-audiobooks. So just keep that in mind, that you need to use your home library's account. Most physical items we share. But this is one of the few exceptions. So if I scroll down to my home library, which is Schomburg, all I have to do is put in my library card number and then my PIN, which is my 2-digit month and 2-digit year of birth. Now, some libraries are a little different. When you sign up for your library card, you might pick your own password, and that would be your PIN here. One library I worked at in the past, I believe the password was library 123 is what they gave to everyone. And then they would ask you to change it. And then if we scroll down, you'll normally have what is popular right now that will show up on the page. If you ever go to too hot to hold for Libby, these mean that these are the ones that are readily available because your library has them listed as extremely popular. So there are no waiting for the too hot to hold items. And then you can scroll through by genre or actually the format that you're looking for. So say you want audiobooks. If you want ones that are available now, you can totally do that, but you don't have to. You can search all of the audiobook collection if you would like, but I'm going to show you one that I have checked out. All you do is go to My Account and then Loans. So I have a couple different types of materials. I have Symphony of Secrets by Brendan Slocum here, already checked out to me. So all you would have had to do, say I want one of those too hot to hold items, and I want to check it out right now. So The Correspondent by Virginia Evans is extremely popular right now. You would click Borrow, and then Borrow again. And then it would appear. And now you can listen to it in your browser.
A novel by Virginia Evans. Read for you by Maggie Meg Reed. With Jane Oppenheimer.
So I know you could probably hear that, but I wanted to bring up a couple other options here. So say she's reading it too slow for you. All you have to do is hit that little clock and you can make it faster. If you want to put a sleep timer on, say, I don't feel like I can get through more than 15 minutes of this before I fall asleep. You can go here and choose where you want to end for your sleep timer. You can also bookmark where you are in the book. So another interesting thing you can do, and I tell people all the time, If you ever go to the stack of books on the page, it'll automatically take you to your list of books. So say I want the regular book. I don't want the audiobook, but the font is too small for me. So the difference between audiobook and ebook, you'll see underneath it. You'll always see a little pair of headphones underneath the audiobook. So say I want the regular book. This one is the regular book. It says ebook. We want to borrow it. Go ahead and borrow it. And we're going to read right now. Hmm. So on the browser, it's a little bit harder to see, but if we were to tap in the middle of the page on the app or click in the middle of the page, you will see this little A come up. And if you would like to make the text bigger, you just drag it to the right, and we automatically have a bigger size. So that's a little bit how that works. Again, if we tap in the center of the page, I can make it smaller, or say I like the bright background. I can do a dark background. So those are just a couple options you can play around with. And if it makes it easier to see it, it's well worth the effort on that. So I'm going to stop sharing this and go back to my PowerPoint. So that was Libby that we just looked at. I would say Libby has probably the best selection as well as the most updated of the three that we're talking about. But often, like I said, there is a wait. Hoopla, there is never any wait for anything. You get 20 borrows a month if you're in Schaumburg district, but most libraries I see they normally have at least 10 borrows a month, which is pretty good. But it depends on what your home library does. In that case, Hoopla has a lot of the same features that Libby does, but the great thing about it is there's zero wait time. Say you're reading through an older James Patterson series and you need book number 36 in the 50 book series. Who knows with him by now, right? So in that case, Hoopla often will have a lot of older books for you to be able to access, which is kind of fun. Also, Hoopla has music, it has movies, it also has TV shows. And all of those you can use the captions on if you feel like you're having a hard time hearing them. But if we're talking about actually being able to see them, let's go. So I'm in Hoopla. Again, if you would have followed that link off the website, you can sign up just like we just did in Libby. So it asks you for your home library. It asks you for your library card number. It asks you for your PIN or password. Then you create a username, which is normally your email, and then your own individual password, whatever you want it to be. It just has to be 8 characters. And that's what you'll use to log into Hoopla with from then on. So again, if we are looking for something like music. I downloaded this because I get nervous on planes. But let's say we want something else. Let's say we want to read a book and we want to make the text bigger. And again, I have mine set to automatically download, so it just did. But if you didn't, a little icon would appear right underneath the book cover and ask you if you want to download. So say I am wanting to make the text bigger. If I go here and I go to settings, I could change the background. I can change the text size. I can bold the text if I want. So you have all these options that are designed to make it more user-friendly and easy for you to continue to be able to read. And then the last option that we have for the apps is Palace Project. And Palace Project you cannot access on your actual computer. It is the app only. It has a lot of the same features that Libby does. I am going to switch over to my video here for just a second to show you what my screen looks like for the app on my phone. And you'll see as I'm scrolling up and down on here, we have the same format. This is easier because it is just ebooks and audiobooks. You have no other options. If I go to what I have checked out, I'm reading right now Too Old for This by Samantha Downing, and it is about a 75-year-old serial killer who keeps getting away with things because she keeps playing off that she's too old to have committed any of these murders. And she walks around with a walker that she does not need. The book is kind of funny. If I go to the book to read, again, text is small, but I can make it bigger by clicking on the T and then hitting the bigger text option. There's only two options in Palace Project, but if I hit the bigger text, I can see that. I also can make it look like a regular book too for the background. If you are a member of the Schomburg Library and you need help with our specific e-media resources, ebooks, e-audiobooks, even with watching and streaming movies, this is the contact info. You will reach my colleague, Amy, who actually manages all of these for the library, and she'd be happy to help you. Most of us librarians on staff are well versed in this also, and we have a good knowledge of them, so we're also able to help. And I was talking to Jessica before our session, and she was saying that many of the staff there know how these apps work, but they know that they can reach us too if there's ever any issue with using these library apps. I hope that this little rundown of all these resources for you helped today, and that you are happy to continue engage in reading, continue learning. I know as a librarian, I did not used to read a lot because I struggled with reading. And people often don't believe me when I say this, but it is very hard for me to focus, especially on something printed right in front of me. I also have some eye issues, and I also have trouble holding a physical book. So I do empathize to a certain point in understanding that it's just hard to sit down and just read and focus. And apps like this are what have allowed me to continue to stay active in reading, especially the audiobook options. When you have a really good narrator, it really makes a difference in your experience. And anytime you read, they tell you it just makes you a more sensitive and empathetic human being, and you get a window to a world that you haven't experienced before. Those who do not read have only lived one life. Those who read have lived many. This is not my quote. This is something that you'll see a lot. I hope that it helped you today.